Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Types of research. Lecture number 4. We will now go into a little bit of more details, although this topic was covered in the previous lectures too, but that was in a very fleeting manner. And so I would now like to spend a little more time making you understand what are the different types of research. We had learned that different types of research are qualitative, quantitative, descriptive, analytical, applied, fundamental, exploratory, and conclusive. This we had learned in the previous lecture. But now we will go into a little bit of details in order to understand what each one means and where is it applicable, because it is very important to know what kind of research is applied. If I am doing an analytical research using analytical tools, that cannot come under descriptive research. If I am doing applied research, that cannot come under qualitative research. So each one has its own significance, and each research category or type is named because of the significant role that it plays in the large area of research. Quantitative research, as the name suggests, it has to do with numerical values, which we have learnt in the past. Qualitative research is a structured approach to collecting and analyzing numerical data to understand real-world phenomena and test hypotheses, often using statistical methods. It focuses on quantifying data, establishing patterns, and drawing statistically valid conclusions, making it a crucial tool in various fields. Numerical data. Quantitative research relies on numerical data such as measurements, counts, and statistics. Objective and empirical. It aims to be objective and based on empirical evidences, focusing on what can be observed and measured. Deductive approach. It often uses deductive approach, starting with a hypothesis and testing it with data. Statistical analysis. Data is analyzed using statistical method to identify patterns, relationships, and draw conclusions. So now we are delving a little more into the depth of what is quantitative research and how numerical data can be used in order to understand research or research problem. So that totally relies on the numerical data, such as it can measure, count, or have a statistical value. Similarly, statistical analysis is using statistical methods to show some kind of pattern or relationship between the variables, and based on that, a conclusion is drawn out for that research. Likewise, objective and empirical also tries to focus on the evidences, empirical evidences, and what are the observed and measured values. Types of quantitative research. Now, even in quantitative research, there are several categories. Descriptive describes the characteristics of a population or phenomena. Correlational examines the relationship between two or more variables. Casual, comparative, or quasi-experiment investigates potential causal relationships by comparing different groups or conditions. Experimental uses controlled experiments to establish cause-effective relations. Methods used. It could be survey, experiments, observation, or content analysis. Survey uses by collecting data from a large sample using questionnaires. Experiments, as the name suggests, manipulating variables to observe their effects. Observations, recording data from structured observation of behavior or events. And content analysis, analyzing the content of text or other materials. So even in that broad category of quantitative research, there are subcategories which could be descriptive, correlational, casual, comparative, or quasi-experimental, experimental. And the methods that are commonly used for conducting these quantitative research are through surveys or experiments or observation or content analysis. As I mentioned, everything has advantages and limitations. Even likewise, quantitative research has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of quantitative research are objective and measurable. Data is objective and easily measured, making it more reliable and variable or verifiable. Generalizability. Findings can often be generalized to a larger population. Statistical analysis. Statistical methods allow for rigorous analysis and identification of patterns and relationships. Clear and concise. Findings can be presented clearly and concisely in tables and graphs. Here I would like to mention, either you put a table in a paper or a graph, never both of them if they are pertaining to the same fundamental. So one should, as we go along, I will give you also tips on what are the do's and the don'ts. Now, having understood the advantages of quantitative research, we will also look at the disadvantages of quantitative research. Limited context. It may not capture the nuances and complexities of real-world situations. Rigidity. Standardized data collection methods may limit the scope of responses. Requires large sample sizes. It often requires large sample sizes to be effective. Focus on numbers. The focus on numbers may overshadow important qualitative insights. So, there are limitations also. There are limited context, they are rigid, it requires large sample size, and sometimes the focus on the number can actually guard the actual significant and important qualitative property. Qualitative research, likewise, Qualitative research is a type of research that focuses on understanding the why and how of a phenomena rather than the what and how much. As the name suggests, it aims to gather rich, in-depth data through non-numerical methods like interviews, observations, and focus groups to explore experiences, perspectives, and social context. Exploration and understanding. Qualitative research is primarily used to explore a topic, generate hypotheses, or delve deeper into a specific issue. In-depth data. It aims to gather rich, detailed information from participants, often using open-ended questions and allowing for flexibility in the research process. Focus on context. Qualitative research emphasizes the importance of understanding phenomena within their natural setting and social context. Non-numerical data. Unlike quantitative research, which relies on numerical data and statistical analysis, qualitative research utilizes text, audio, and visual data. Interpretative analysis. The data collected is analyzed to identify patterns, themes, and meanings within the context of the study. Methods of qualitative research. It could be through interviews, focus groups, observations, document analysis, and case study. In-depth interviews, where researchers ask open-ended questions to explore participants' experience, perspectives, and beliefs. Focus groups are group discussions led by a moderator, allowing participants to interact and share their insight on specific topic. Observations. Researchers observe and document behaviors, interactions, and environments within their natural settings. Document analysis. Examination of existing documents such as text, articles, or artifacts to gain insights into a phenomena. Case studies. In-depth investigation of a specific case, individual, group, or event. So, the method of doing qualitative research is quite different from the methods of doing quantitative research. These are primarily through interviews, focus group discussion, observations, document analysis, and case study. When to use qualitative research? Because now there are so many categories, and often it is mind-boggling for a new researcher to know when to use qualitative research and where to use quantitative research. So, exploring a new topic. When little is known about a particular phenomena or issue, understanding perspective. When researchers want to gain insight into how individuals experience, perceive, or interpret a situation. Developing theories. When researchers want to develop new theories to expand existing ones based on real world data. So, which means that if you are trying to explore a developing theory, then also qualitative research is more appropriate. Mixed method research. When qualitative data is used in conjunction with quantitative data to provide a more comprehensive understanding of a problem. So, various aspects have been dealt. where to use what. And that is what is the main focus of this lecture. Coming to descriptive research. Descriptive research aims to accurately and systematically describe the characteristic of a population, situation, or phenomena. It focuses on answering what, who, where, and how questions without manipulating variables or seeking to establish cause and effect relationships. Think of it as providing a detailed snapshot of something. Focuses on what? Descriptive research answers questions about the nature and characteristic of phenomena rather than explaining why something happens. So, it is very basic. The question that you ask are only four: what, who, where, and how. Now, it is about what has happened. So, in this descriptive research, these questions are answered. No manipulation of variables. Researchers observe and collect data without intervening or changing the environment. Data collection methods. Common methods include surveys, observations, case studies, and content analysis. Statistical analysis. Descriptive data can be analyzed using statistical methods to summarize and interpret findings. So, it is very clear that descriptive research is a completely different ballgame. Each one, of course, is different, but here it is more based on asking or answering questions like what is this, who has done this, where it was conducted, how was and these questions are the ones which actually lead to descriptive research. Now, examples of descriptive research are making a market research, public health studies, educational research, a survey to understand consumers' preference for a new product. Public health studies means tracking the prevalence of a disease in a population. Educational research means that observing classroom interaction to understand students' engagement. Descriptive studies can be of several types, namely case reports, case series, cross-sectional studies, and ecological studies. Descriptive research is a research method used to try and determine the characteristics of a population or particular phenomena. Using descriptive research, you can identify patterns in the characteristic of a group to essentially establish everything you need to understand apart from why something has happened. So, it answers many basic questions. You are trying to answer all these basic questions through descriptive research. Analytical research. Let us now focus more on analytical research. Involves a deep dive into available data and information to critically evaluate, interpret, and draw meaningful conclusions about a phenomenon. It goes beyond simple description and aims to understand underlying relationships, causality, and outcomes. Focus on evaluation. Analytical research emphasizes a critical examination of existing information rather than simply observing and recording. In-depth study. It involves a thorough investigation of a subject matter, often using statistical, mathematical, and computational techniques. Hypothesis testing. Analytical research often involves formulating and testing hypotheses to explain complex phenomena. Relationship specification. It seeks to identify and interpret relationships between different components of the research subject which is under study. Application across disciplines. Analytical research is used in various fields, including science, business, economics, and social studies, to inform decision making and policy makers. So, an overview of analytical research, which I have sourced from SlideShare, is emphasizing 5 things primarily. Educational research, which is assessing educational data for academic improvements. Business and marketing, analyzing market data for business strategies. Environmental studies, investigating environmental data for ecological impacts. Economic analysis, examining financial data and policies for economic predictions. And medical research, analyzing clinical and health data for healthcare insights. So, analytical research has many domains, and each domain does impart a lot of knowledge for the benefit of either education field or business field or environmental field or even economical field and medical field and many more. So if we have to take an overview of analytical research is a type of research in which the researcher analyzes existing facts, data, and information to evaluate and interpret them critically in order to reach meaningful conclusion. Meaning of analytical research. Analytical research involves using available information and applying logical reasoning and analytical methods to study a problem or phenomena. Instead of any and only collecting data, the researcher examines and interprets the data to understand relationships and causes. Characteristic of analytical research: use of existing data. It often uses secondary data, reports, or previously collected information. Critical examination. The researcher carefully examines and evaluates the data. Logical reasoning. Analytical thinking and reasoning are used to interpret the findings. Comparative study. It often involves comparison between variables, theories, or results. Use of statistical tools. Data may be analyzed using statistical techniques and analytical methods. Overview of analytical research also shows its advantages and disadvantages. So, steps in analytical research are conducted through identification of research problem, collection of relevant data or information, critical analysis of the data, interpretation of results, and drawing conclusions. The advantages of analytical research are that it provides deep understanding of a research problem, helps in testing theories and hypotheses, useful for policy making and scientific analysis. However, as what I said earlier, every good thing also has its, darker side. The limitations are It depends heavily on availability and quality of existing data, may involve subjective interpretation. Therefore, we can conclude that analytical research focuses on examining and interpreting existing data through logical analysis, helping researchers to understand relationships, evaluate theories, and generate meaningful conclusions. The culmination of any type of research, be it qualitative, be it descriptive, be it quantitative, be it analytical, every research should culminate in constructive, meaningful conclusion. Then only it will be said that this research was conducted most efficiently. Examples of analytical research. Examples of analytical research would involve case study analysis, examining a specific case or example to explore underlying issues, causes, effects, and potential solutions. Statistical analysis, using statistical method to analyze data and draw conclusions. Literature review, critically evaluating and synthesizing existing research on a particular topic. There are several benefits of analytical research, and let us now go through them. Improved understanding. Analytical research provides a deeper understanding of complex phenomena by examining their components and relationships. Evidence-based conclusion. By critically evaluating available information, analytical research helps to support conclusions with evidence. Informed decision making. The insights gained from analytical research can be used to make better decisions in various fields. And identifying patterns. Analytical research helps to identify patterns and trends in data, which can be useful for understanding complex systems. So it has its own set of benefits, that this research is so valuable that it can be conducted through so many beneficial factors. It improves the understanding. Evidence-based conclusions can be drawn from analytical research. Informed decision making can be done, and so on and so forth. Coming to applied research. This is another focus which is of very great use for societal development. Applied research focuses on practical problems and finding immediate solutions using existing knowledge. It is the type of research that aims to address specific real-world issues and develop tangible applications. Unlike basic research, which explores fundamental knowledge, applied research is driven by a desire to solve problems or improve existing practices. As the name suggests, it is with a focused application. If there is a method which is not functioning very good, can it be improved with the help of applied research methodology to making it better? So, in a crux, I can say, for betterment, applied research is the research methodology. Applied research is solution-oriented, aiming to solve practical problems or address specific challenges in various fields. The methodology often utilizes existing theories and methodologies to develop practical solutions. It impacts The results of applied research are intended to be immediately usable and applicable to real-world situations. There are many examples of applied research. I've just enlisted a few here. For example, a study investigating the effectiveness of new medical treatment or therapy for a specific condition would be considered applied research. The primary objective is to increase teaching methods, curriculum development, and student learning outcomes. The primary purpose of applied research is to generate actionable insights and solutions that have a direct impact on practical situations. It seeks to bridge the gap between theory and practice by taking existing knowledge and applying it to real-world contexts. Applied research is driven by the need to address specific challenges, make informed decisions, and drive innovation in various domains. So it is very, very practical, and it is a research which is driven by the need to address a certain problem. And if that problem can be addressed through research, then it is coming under the category of applied research. Importance of applied research. Applied research holds immense significance across various fields and industries. Here is a list of reasons why applied research is crucial. First, problem solving. Second, innovation. Third, evidence-based decision making. Fourth is competitive advantage. Fifth is social impact. And sixth is technological advancement. How it solves the problem? Applied research provides effective solutions to real-world problems, improving processes, products, and services. Innovation. It drives innovation by identifying opportunities for enhancement and developing practical solutions. Evidence-based decision making. Policymakers and decision makers rely on applied research findings to make informed choices and shape effective policies. Competitive advantage. In business, applied research can lead to improved products, increased efficiency, and a competitive edge in the market. Social impact. How it can make a social impact, the applied research. Applied research contributes to solving societal issues from healthcare improvement to environmental sustainability. Technological advancement. In technology and engineering, it fuels advancements by applying scientific knowledge to practical application. So it is a direct impact. There is no doubt that applied research can make a lot of difference in the field of research when it comes to societal development. Now, if we have to make a comparison between applied research and basic research, applied research differs from basic research in several key ways: in its objective, in its focus, in its applicability, in its immediate impact, and research questions. Objectives. Like applied research aims to address specific practical problems or improve existing processes, while basic research seeks to expand general knowledge. Applied research focuses on solving real-world challenges, whereas basic research explores fundamental principles and concepts. Applied research findings are directly applicable to practical situations, while basic research often lacks immediate practical applications. Applied research has more immediate impact on solving problems and improving practices, whereas basic research may have long-term and indirect effect on knowledge and innovation. Similarly, applied research formulates research questions related to practical issues, while basic research poses questions to explore theoretical or fundamental concepts. Then we come to fundamental research. One by one, we are now getting into in-depth of understanding what these different research methodologies are all about. Fundamental research, also known as basic or pure research, is scientific inquiry aimed at expanding knowledge and understanding in a particular field without immediate practical applications in mind. It focuses on theoretical concepts, fundamental principles, and underlying phenomena, contributing to the existing body of knowledge in various disciplines. The importance of fundamental research. It is not that we should only do applied research. Let me tell you, every research has its own focus and dwells to solve a certain problem. So each one is important. Similarly, the importance of fundamental research is in driving technological innovations, expanding scientific understanding, and training future scientists. Driving technological innovation, fundamental research often lays the groundwork for future technological advancements. In expanding scientific understanding, it contributes to a deeper understanding of natural world and the universe. Training futuristic scientists engaged in fundamental research can provide rigorous training in scientific methodologies and critical thinking skills. So each one has its own role to play. What are the characteristics of fundamental research? It is driven by curiosity. It focuses on foundational knowledge, knowledge expansion, theoretical and experimental, and publicly shared. So fundamental research is primarily, the motivation is to uncover new knowledge and deepen understanding of natural phenomena, not to create or invent something. Focus on foundational knowledge means it investigates theoretical concepts, fundamental principles, and underlying phenomena, aiming to improve scientific theories for better understanding and prediction. Knowledge expansion means the goal is to contribute to the existing body of knowledge in a particular field without specific applications in mind. Theoretical and experimental. It often involves theoretical modeling, hypothesis testing, and experimentation to investigate fundamental principles. And publicly shared means the results are typically published and shared broadly within the research community with no restrictions for proprietary or national security reasons. So these are very fundamental research which are not having any IPR component. They don't have to be secured or confidential, but they are open and public because they are very, very fundamental research. Now, if these parameters have to be tested, how do we discriminate between the basic research, fundamental research and applied research? So fundamental research refers to study that is aimed at enhancement of the scientific knowledge, whereas applied research is a practical application of science. Similarly, type of knowledge. Fundamental research is scientific discovery, whereas applied research, it is called or will fall under the category of technological application. Research approach. Fundamental research is theoretical, whereas applied research is practical. Application have no any practical application as such, but applied research, it is totally a practical application. Question, is it true? Those are the kind of questions that are asked under the category of fundamental research. Whereas under application research, it is asked, does it work? So, the scope of research is in fundamental research, it is universal, whereas in applied research, it is very, very limited. Uses to add new knowledge to the existing knowledge under the category of fundamental research, whereas in applied research, it solves the specific practical question faced by the society. Research purpose, it is intellectual curiosity, whereas in applied research, it is solving problem. Now coming to exploratory research. Exploratory research is a research approach used when little is known about a topic, often employed in the early stages of research project to gain insights and generate initial ideas before conducting more structured studies. It focuses on understanding a phenomena, identifying potential variables, and formulating research questions. Focus on understanding. Exploratory research aims to deepen understanding of a topic, especially when there is a lack of existing knowledge. So this is, as the name suggests, it is exploratory. You are trying to find something deeper, meaning and because of lack of existing knowledge, it is not very clear. Therefore, exploratory research has to be conducted. Flexible and open-minded. It allows the flexibility in research design, data, collection methods, and analysis to adapt to the emerging information. Qualitative or quantitative. While often qualitative, which is like interviews, focus groups, exploratory research can also utilize quantitative methods like surveys and so on. It is very preliminary in nature. It is typically conducted as a first step in the research project to set the stage for more in-depth investigation. Not for definitive answers. Exploratory, as the name suggests, is not meant for any definite goal. It is more of a wide spectrum. The goal is not to find definitive solution, but to generate new idea and hypothesis. That is the main aim of the fundamental research. Purposes of exploratory research. Understanding complexity helps researchers grasp the intricate nature of research topic. Idea generation. Foster the development of new research questions and hypotheses. Problem identification. identifies research problems and gaps in existing knowledge. Decision support provides information for making informed decisions about the research direction. So, in a way, we can say that exploratory research is more like a starting point. When a researcher starts his research journey, exploratory research helps him to find a direction in which he should proceed for research. Examples of exploratory research: market research, understanding consumers' need and preferences before launching a new product; social science studies, building theory and exploring social phenomena; new technology development, exploring the potential and implications of emerging technologies, and identifying research problems, determining what questions need to be answered about a particular area. So, it can be applied in many fields, but remember, this is more like the starting point. Conclusive research, where we actually say, okay, a research has been conducted, and now what is the result out of this? Conclusive research is a type of research designed to provide information that can be used to reach conclusions or making decisions. It is often quantitative in nature, meaning it uses numbers that can be quantified and summarized. Conclusive research can be divided into two main categories. One is descriptive or statistical research and casual research. As the name suggests, conclusive research is meant to provide information that is useful in reaching conclusions or decision making. It tends to be quantitative in nature, that is to say, in the form of numbers that can be quantified and summarized. Conclusive research is structured and quantifiable, aiming to provide definitive answers, while exploratory research is flexible and open-ended, designed to generate new hypotheses and insights. Each methodology serves a unique role in the research process, facilitating a deeper understanding of complex issues. So, conclusive research has a purpose, approach, type, casual research, data, and uses. The purpose is to test specified hypotheses, examine specific relationships, or make predictions. The approach is typically quantitative, usually structured methods and large representative samples. The types are: descriptive research focuses on describing the characteristic of a population or phenomena. Casual research investigates cause and effect relationship between variables. Data relies on both secondary data, that is existing databases, and primary research data specifically gathered for the study. And there are many uses. It provides reliability and representative data for decision making and can be used to verify and quantify findings from exploratory studies. In summary, we can say that conclusive research is a structured, quantitative approach used to test hypotheses, establish relationships, and generate findings that are practically useful for decision making. Now, after all this learning, we come down to one basic question: what is the purpose of doing research? Three most influential and common purposes are exploration, description, and explanation. And we started our journey from here. So we are also trying to see that are we able to understand what is the purpose of doing research, why a research scholar should do research, and that goal, that purpose should be clear in his mind, that whether he is doing exploration work, whether he is doing description work, or whether he is doing explanation research. The purpose of research is the information gathering and exploratory. Discover, uncover, exploring. Descriptive means gathering information, describing and summarizing. Theory testing, which is explanatory, is testing and understanding the relationships, causal relationship between parameters. And predictive means predicting what might happen in various scenarios. This is based on how the purpose is envisaged. Now, there are many barriers in research, and we have seen these barriers in a very elaborate manner. There could be institutional barrier, there could be some specific barriers like lack of resource, financial limitation, time constraint. Many individuals struggle to find time for research due to other responsibilities, or they are only doing part-time research. So then there is this lack of research opportunities and training. Many colleges do not have that facility, and therefore it becomes very, very important that they have some kind of opportunity available. They are trained, and many students then go for training to other institutes which run a 2-day or a 5-day or a 7-day program to train researchers how to use the instruments, how to do some specific analysis, how to do certain experiments, how to plan experiments. Though there are workshops that are conducted by good institutions to train, and many colleges do not have these opportunities, so the research scholars have to go to those organizations to learn them. Now we have seen that there has to be a goal of research. Unless and until there is a discrete goal, the researcher will not land anywhere. Why is research important? A very, very basic question from where we started this lecture. The purpose of research are to inform action, gather evidence of theories, and contribute to developing knowledge in the field of study. The significance of research and many reasons why it is important for everyone, not just students and scientists, is the societal benefit and the addition of new knowledge. So these are very, very discrete, important goals of a research plan, and all researchers must understand or have a good understanding of these facts. So the main goal of research is to discover new knowledge, to verify existing knowledge. Third is to understand relationship. In order to discover new knowledge, one of the primary goals is to discover new facts, principles, and ideas that were previously unknown. To verify existing knowledge, research helps to test and confirm existing theories, concepts, and findings. And to understand relationship, it aims to understand and study the relationship between different variables or factors. For example, studying how temperature affects dye uptake. Can dyeing be done at room temperature, or does it need to be done at boiling temperature, or can there be any in-between temperature which can be suitable for dyeing? To solve problems, research helps in finding solutions to scientific, technological, or social problems. Fifth is to develop new methods and technologies. Another goal is to create improved techniques, materials, and processes. Sixth is to predict future trends. Research can help in predicting future outcomes or behaviors based on their analysis data. Seventh is to contribute to scientific progress. Research expands the existing body of knowledge and supports scientific advancement. And this slide I had shown earlier, where it shows that research is driven by three main factors: science, society, and industry. So I will not explain this anymore. I have already discussed this slide in the past, and it is very, very relevant for a researcher to understand which category does he or she want to do research in. So to conclude this lecture, I would say understanding the various types of research is crucial for selecting the appropriate technologies to address specific research questions. Each type offers unique insight and, when chosen correctly, contributes significantly to the robustness of validity of a study. A thorough understanding of various research types is fundamental for conducting effective and meaningful research. Selecting the appropriate methodology ensures that the research design aligns with the objectives, leading to valid and reliable findings. Moreover, recognizing the strength and limitations of each approach allows researchers to critically evaluate existing studies and to contribute to the advancement of knowledge across the disciplines. So with this, we have come to an end of this lecture. Thank you.